Thank you. Let me start by saying, indeed, it's a privilege to be here in the United States of America. The last time I was in the US, it was during the elections. And before I left home, the US Embassy invited journalists where we had to analyze and unpack the debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And in the room, editors, journalists, and political analysts, all of them predicting that Hillary Clinton was going to win the elections. I was a lone voice saying Trump is going to take it. And many people couldn't understand why I was saying that. When a society is battered and bruised, it tends to take decisions that they regret after. As a journalist in South Africa, my relationship with the United Nations started when I was a learner at school. Under the apartheid regime, I wanted answers in terms of how did we arrive at this brutal system. And through the history books, I started trying to get to the bottom of what happened. As I was reading my history book, the history was divided into two parts. One, African history, that projected my continent, my home, Africa, as a dark continent. And thanks to the Europeans who brought civilization, it became a better continent. The other part was a European history where everything was just bright, lovely, and beautiful. And very little about other regions such as Asia, North America, and America, but only Europe. I guess it was our colonizers trying to channel us in terms of what we must read. It was very suicidal because when you grew up appreciating certain norms and values that didn't really align with our continent. In other words, freedom of information was stifled. We couldn't interact with the international community. We couldn't get information. We had to live with what we have. We were so ignorant, some of us. But thanks to the leadership, the liberation organizations, there are many in South Africa, there were many. They went out in exile, they interacted with international community. And today, I want to say, as a South African, thank you, the international community, for sharing information and educating our leaders who in turn came back to educate us. And it is for that reason, information sharing is very important. And in any country where the media is not free, you can't have a sustainable peace or development. Therefore, it is important at all times that when you look at countries in terms of their performance on democratic values, look at the media. Is the media free in that country? If the media is not free, there is just no way the country is going to be free because there is no flow of information. Media rights are human rights because freedom of information can be facilitated by the media. Today, we will hear from people with experience on the ground, writers, people who carried the microphones, the cameras, who were there to document history, how important media freedom is. On that note, I am going to call upon Robert Money, who is the Deputy Executive Director, Committee to Protect Journalists, because as journalists, we need protection. He's going to share his experience in terms of how to operate in a conflict area or areas where there are wars and conflict, because of his extensive experience in those areas such as the Middle East. Over to you, Sen.